Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. Friday the 31st of May in the evening. Here comes the weekend, so back on with the A70 Lightning motor, and where we left it in the last video was that we had to extract the final 3 crosshead screws from the primary chain case, and these are terribly rounded and haven't taken the impact driver too well, and there they are. 1, 2, 3. So they're getting drilled like a couple of the others, so we'll get on with that. But before I start that, quick look at some parts that have arrived. Firstly, some more edging rubber for the rear light if we want to change that. Just to remind you that it is a little bit short on both sides because I had a limited amount left when we fitted it, but I think that's going to be okay. I'm going to leave it for now, but we've got some spare in case I get bored one day. And also what's arrived from Germany is the headlight short harness that does indeed connect underneath the tank to the end of the main harness that's on there, so that's correct. And also at this end we've got the 3 warning lights, 2 to go into the headlight, so that's the correct part. So we'll fit that at some point, but firstly let's get on with the motor, and I'll spare you the intense labour, cursing and swearing as I drill these, and I'll bring you back hopefully when the heads are off, and we'll see if we can extract that case. Okay, I brought you back early because I've got the first one done after a relatively short period of time, and that's because sharp drill bits are the key, together with a bit of cutting compound too. And you can see that the drill bit that I used created a lot of swarf and made light work of that. So we'll move on to the next one. Okay, 5 minutes later, there we have 3 drilled heads, and off they've come. It was a beautifully sharp drill that I used, so it made really light work of it, and you can tell, I mean, just look at the length of swarf that came off. Fantastic, really made light work of that. So we might have a bit of a job here and have to tease this off with a bit of a mallet, really, because we've got, essentially now we've got 3 studs still in at the bottom here, and there's one at the top here as well. And if there's any corrosion around those, obviously it's going to make us extracting the case a little more difficult, and I don't want to lever it too much through these holes, which is an option, but we don't want to damage the case. So I'm going to give it a bit of gentle agitation first to see if we can break the seal, and we'll take it from there. Back ever so quickly again, 2 taps with a rubber mallet, and it's off. That's all I've done. Bit more oil coming out, not worried about that at all. So there we are. First impressions. Well, I've never seen that before. Hatched in a case. Interesting. I'll have to do a bit of research on that. I've never seen that. There's the part number 711045 with the casting name Birmingham Aluminium, I think. But first impressions, come on, focus. Better. First impressions. Looks in pretty good condition, actually. Pleased with that. Right, I'll just put you down and just clean up some of this oil, which seems to be beginning to drip everywhere, and I'll bring you back. Okay, brought you back, set you up on the stand, moved a few bits and pieces around, got the heads out of the way so you can see it a little better. Let's see if I put a bit of light on it too. There we go. So, first impressions, very good. The slipper tensioner is intact, not worn. There was oil in there for a start. Chain tension isn't too bad, chain looks in reasonable nick. The spring tensioner screws aren't chewed at all. They're in very good condition. Clutch surface looks okay, but we'll take that apart anyway and examine the plates. Alternator, the stator nuts aren't chewed at all. The centre nut looks as though it has been off in the past, but it's not bad, and it still has a tab washer, so that's good news. The front of the rotor isn't scored or scratched at all. Very clear timing marks on it. So this is all pretty good news. So next job then is just to remove, you can see now I've got the stud remnants for each of the screws that we drilled the heads off. So we'll just get some mold grips on those and see if we can turn them gently. So let's just move this case, inner case, chain case out of the way. But that inner's beautiful piece of art. I have to try and find out why they did that. Can't imagine why it would be strengthening. Anyway, let's not think about that too much at the moment. We can come back to it. The good news is that came off easily, and I thought that was going to be a bit more of a job than it turned out to be. So let's, I was just going to say, let's try the top one first. I don't even need to. It's finger tight. Out it comes, straight into the bin. So it was obviously the heads that were corroded onto the alley chain case. Similarly, middle bottom one, now finger tight. That one's moving with my finger, here it goes. And the final one, and that goes too. Fantastic. There we go. Right, next thing, spacer for the chain tensioner spindle against the case. What we'll probably attack first is obviously we'll take the stator off. I've just noticed there's a big casting which the stator sits in. I've not seen that before either. Normally I just see them mounted on studs, but there's a casting mount for this. So we'll take these nuts off, we'll take that centre nut off, we'll take these screws out, and then we need to start thinking about pullers, and I've got a full factory puller set, so that shouldn't be a problem. But first of all, we'll get these three nuts removed. They look about, what, ½ inch. Yep, ½ inch. Oh no, it's slipping. Try 7/16. That's better, 7/16. 1, 2, 3, 3 lock nuts, there's studs coming on that one, but that doesn't matter. And you can see they're just a short stud that go into an alloy sort of housing. I've not seen that before, so that must be a mod for the later motors. As I said in the last video, my first British bike that I bought in 1976 when I was 18 was a 1968 Lightning. I had some fun and games with that of my own making though, and so that came apart a couple of times, and that's why I know a little about the internals of these. Just going to prise that tab washer. Shouldn't take too much. There she goes. I'll be using new tab washers, obviously. That's ready to go. I've got a screwdriver here that I've had for years that was rather worn on the end, so I don't know if you can see that. Oh, hang on a minute, let's get it the right way around. That's not very clever, is it? There we go. You can see I've made a tool out of that for these screws, but unfortunately they're screwed in a little way, which means it's the groove in it's not deep enough. So I'll have to have a think about that. I wonder if there's something in the tool set. There might be. So we'll go back to this nut first anyway. What size do we reckon? Yeah, there we go, 1 1/16. There we go, straight off. It's bloody fantastic when you've got the right tools. Okay. That's right at all. So we've got a quite a thick washer behind the tab washer. That can't be right. The tab washer is supposed to lock in the slot for the woodruff key in the rotor. That's not right. Let's have a look in the parts book. Parts book's in the house. Right, we'll just have to remember that, so that's on film. There's quite a thick washer, correct size, in between the tab washer and the rotor, but the tab washer has clearly got an indentation in it to sit in the groove in the rotor, which it was nowhere near, so that's wrong. We'll look that up a little bit later. So let's see if we can do a little bit of gentle levering with wood. Oh yeah, there it goes, it's moving. So the stator's moving off the rotor. There you go. Okay, that's the stator off. rotor. Still got magnetism. Nice and smooth. It's been a close fit, but I think it's okay. Yeah, there's plenty of magnetism in it. I haven't got any keepers, but hopefully this won't be off too long. And yeah, that was manufactured in 371, which is right. Right, the next thing is we want to take the stator out. The wire goes through the crankcase at the back through a rubber seal, but there is a metal keeper on here, which I believe is right. There it goes. To make sure the wire stays well out of the way, in this case of the clutch chain wheel. That's right, and the wire goes through a hole in these shoulder castings for the well, to act as the cradle for the stator. And these are all cast in with the crankcase. Never seen that before. While we're here, let's just get that woodruff key out so we don't lose that. There it goes. Doesn't want to leave its rotor. Okay, that's in. So now, with respect to the charging wire that comes out the back here, there's one bullet connector on there, so we'll take that off. Just came off my hand, that's fine. And then we should be able to gently tease these wires through. Just had a horrible thought here. Might just have to leave that where it is, because we've got two bullets on the end of this, and two bullets side by side are going to actually be thicker than the wire itself. I don't really want to force it too much, because I think this stator is reusable. And we might just leave it there. The hole's all good, the rubber on this is still good and flexible. It's obviously been sealing, but actually it is split. But we can replace that. Once we've split the cases, we'll have a look at to see if we can stagger the bullets on the other side of that. But it's well out of the way for now, so we can get the pullers on it when ready. But coming on well. So next step is to see if we can undo the spring tensioning screws on the clutch. Okay, they are moving okay. Bit of a Heath Robinson way of doing it. Let's just see if I've got the right tool in the factory tool set. And the answer is yes, I have. So there it is. That's an original factory tool with much longer prongs, which is what we need. It's a little bit dry and rusty, so I'll just put a bit of oil to protect it a bit in the future. There we go. It works. I bought a full complete factory tool set about a year or so ago. It came up on eBay together with the not the parts book per se, but it's like a book to accompany the set, describing what each one was for. I'll see if I can dig it out at some point. It's in my literature store. Still not that easy to use. It's like a little Tommy bar at the other end, but it is working. And it means that we're not damaging these screws, so we can reuse them. Nearly there. Let's see if the patented screwdriver now works, because it's easy to handle with a screwdriver end. I think no, it's not. That's no good. It's better when they're all the way out. I just need to create better prongs on this, but at least I've got a factory profile now that I can use. Springs look good, but when we're putting back together, we'll check the free length of those and make sure they're within tolerance, because I think we should have some specifications in the workshop manual. Go. Does look in very good condition. Can't see any clutch push rod. Plates look good though and not warped. size of that one. I guess the last one, 1 inch and a 16th. That's an inch, bit too big. 15/16. Just check for a tab washer. Where's my torch? Here it is. No tab washer. I don't think that's right either. It is a lot. It's a stiff nut with no tab washer. So anyway, we've got that documented. Okay, the crankshaft sprocket is moving, so we don't need a puller for that. But we will need a puller for the clutch hub, so we'll go and grab that now. Again, out of the factory tool set, we'll put the other one back. Right, I've got quite a few pullers. One of these is for a T160, I remember that. Nope. No. Oh. Tell you why, there's no thread. Unless, no, it can't be a washer, can it? There's a bit of digging around in there. Yeah, right, there's a washer for a start. Small screwdriver. It's not a tab washer though. I don't think it's a tab washer. It wasn't bent over anyway. Come on. Very thick. Patience, here it comes. Maybe it doesn't. Big thick washer. Almost like a big thrust washer. Right, what we've got in there now. Still no thread on the inside of that, so you can't use a puller on it. Right, time to clean hands a little. try and consult the workshop manual. Primary chain A12. Let me just clean my hands. You can tell I've recently bought this as new old stock because it's pristine. There we go. Okay, so the big thick thrust washer is correct, no tab washer. See figure B30. Ah. Right, sorry about the delay. The manual is showing a clutch puller. And it just basically says it's a service tool number. Thanks. There's no thread in there. Oh, no, mate. Right, I'm going to leave it there, I think, and I'm going to have to think about this. There is definitely no thread in the centre of that clutch hub. So I'll do a bit of reading up, and we'll save that then for the next video. But anyway, pleased with the progress. I thought the primary chain case was going to be a lot more difficult than that to remove, so we've made quite a bit of progress tonight. We know the crankcase sprocket, crankshaft sprocket is loose. We ought to just slacken off the chain, which we can do, but then I'll read up a bit about this clutch, see if there's any indication somewhere as to why this might not have threads to accept, you know, what is usually a standard puller. Okay, let me ponder that. That's all for now, but progress, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Take care. See you again soon. Toodaloo.